PBS is dead. The U.S. invests in a smelter. I missed this. Someone had to tell me about this. And Trump fears impeachment. This is current events. January 6th, 2026. I'm Sot L, seeker of truth L, speaker of truth L. And wow. We're gonna jump into this. Let's do a dance. It's man, I guess there's a reason why we're doing this again. Make sure you check out welcometothefoundation.com. Sign up for the email list. That would be luxurious. Just type your email in there. We are still extending our half off of the startup fee for any tier of the foundation trustee training. You have to email us though, admin at welcometothefoundation.com and support at welcometothefoundation.com. You're doing pretty well. It feels good, to allow, the barriers of entry to be lowered. But there's always going to be a barrier to entry. No matter what you're doing, getting in shape, barrier to entry of that is you have to work out. You have to work out consistently. There's a lot of things that go into achievement. But let's not get into that. This is current events. I do want to say that I'm working on getting a special guest on the show. I don't want to not say too much, but this guy has done some amazing, some things that I can't even. It's just amazing. But you haven't had a guest for a while. Hopefully you guys like that, but I'm setting that up in the background. We do want to do more guests on the foundation this year, or just guest period. I mean more, as though we've done guests. So getting that worked out as far as moving forward. But man, I'm excited for this, this guest to come on. What else we got? I think that's about it. Let's jump into current events. Look at silver. Oh man, this is silver. This is SOV. This is the what you call it. This is futures contract. This is actual silver. Man, it's at $80 today. And it's staying there. It didn't hit 80 and drop down. It's trading sideways right now, $80 and some change. That's wild. Gold is up a little. Took a little dip. I think this is important to look at. Also, commodities, specific commodities. You got copper, including pennies, U.S. pennies that are 1982 and prior. Nickel, including nickels. Especially now, they're not even minting pennies anymore. Copper, the price of copper is increasing. The price of all commodities, real metals, precious metals, silver. If you're not seriously getting your hands on silver, I don't mean seriously like buying a lot. I mean seriously like just doing it. I would say regularly. I like to dollar cost average. If I make $1,000 every 2 weeks, I'm gonna take $100 and go buy silver every 2 weeks. That's But if you're not grabbing assets right now, commodities and assets, a lot of commodities are unattainable. Like who's gonna buy a bunch of oil drums, crude oil and stuff, and sit them somewhere and then sell them later? The thing of it is though, easily we can get our hands on silver. Gold, I would say, is pretty much out of reach right now. When it was back, 1,300, so on and so forth, it was easier to get your hands on. All I'm saying is, just please, y'all, please. And I gain nothing. I don't sell gold. I don't sell silver. I make no profits off of y'all going and buying physical silver. I make nothing off it. There's no benefit to me at all. None. But please listen to me. And I know you're like, oh, it's expensive. Listen, this is going to be cheap. You're going to look back at $80 silver and kick yourself that you didn't sell anything that you could, the PlayStation or your car or something like that, your extra little car or whatever you got, or take the money that the quote money, the actual currency that you have to acquire what is money right now, because $80 silver is going to sound like a dream in a very short period of time. We got like a year, maybe. So y'all just, take it from, Uncle Sot. Just prioritizing getting it's just anything. And I don't mean just go crazy and just, study the markets. This is spot price silver. It's $80.57 running back and forth. This is spot gold, 4,488, right? Understand what the market is before you just go out and start buying stuff. And then also understand that this number, spot silver, $80, I'm over here, $80.58, and this number, spot gold, 4,000, that's pure. That's 0.999, and sometimes you'll get 0.9999. That's pure silver. This is not, a lot of the jewelry you see is sterling silver, silverware is sterling silver. A lot of gold, 10 karat is less than 50%. 14 karat is right about 50%, or it's still less than 50%. Content gold, 18 karat is just a little over 50%. 22 karat, so on and so forth. And, I'm just going off the top of my head, right? But understand that this price is for pure silver, pure gold. So unless you're getting actual numismatics, and the only thing designated numismatic by Congress is American Eagle gold and American Eagle silver coins. So you can get those at coin shops, We Buy Gold. I like We Buy Gold spots. And I like coin shops. Sometimes I like pawn shops, but not too much. But this is where you get your hands on this stuff. This stuff right here, it's $80 silver is going to be cheap. That's all I'm saying. I've already spoke too much. Speaking of silver, U.S. secures silver smelter deal to process metals. The project known as U.S. Smelter. And I may have already spoken about this. I kind of feel like I have, but I've been speaking about this, in my personal life as well. $7.4 billion investment. From what I understand, Korea's down now. Korea's in there. Main thing is the U.S. Department of War or Defense, depending on how you look at it, will hold a 40% stake in the J.P. Morgan financed joint venture. Generally, this doesn't happen in the United States too often. Smelting it has environmental effects. It's not very good for the environment. So this is, and if you look at the silver deposits in Venezuela, things start making sense. We're gonna get into some politics a little later, geopolitics, but there's a reason, y'all, why the United States is going to invest money, billions of currency. Oh man, I gotta stop saying money. Billions of currency to mine and really smelt silver, which is money. There's a big listen. These are big deals. Multiple $1 billion of an investment. Why? And then you got to understand, silver is an industrial as well as precious metal. It's used in a lot of things. I spoke on how Elon Musk tweeted about it or X'd about it. I don't know how to say it. But this I'm paying attention to. Also, like I said before, I've been honest. I was buying silver when it was $13 an ounce. Pure silver. So, and I've been talking about this for a long time. But now that it's here, I want to say, before you get priced out of silver, before you get priced out of real money, $80 isn't that much. It's not that much to get an ounce of silver, especially if you think if I took $13 and got an ounce of silver and held on to it, and now I can get 80 fiat notes or currency notes, and in exchange for that same ounce. This is just the beginning, y'all. So please take my word for it. Corporation for Public Broadcasting votes itself out of existence. This is a big deal. For those of us that grow up watching Sesame Street, you know, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. I know I'm dating myself. I don't care. I don't try to be younger than I actually am, you know, or the younger than the vessel actually is. You know, I'm timeless myself, but I'm not into all that. You know, I don't dye hairs or nothing like that. I'm good. So I'm good. You know, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood and Sesame Street, Big Bird, Snuffleupagus. And you crack jokes all you want, but y'all watch this. And if you didn't, your parents watched this. This is, this is unprecedented as far as I'm concerned. Like, who would have thought that PBS would be shutting down? Leaders of the Corporation for Public Broadcasting, a private agency that has steered federal funding to PBS, NPR, that's National Public Radio, I think, and hundreds of public television and radio stations across the country voted Monday to dissolve the organization that was created in 1967. That's why. They've been here over my whole life, more longer than my whole life. CPB had been winding down since Congress acted last summer to defund its operations at the encouragement of President Donald Trump. Its board of directors chose yesterday to shutter CPB completely instead of keeping it in existence as a shell. I don't know what that means. This is big, though. Corporation for Public Broadcasting's final act will be to protect the integrity of the public media system and the democratic values by dissolving, rather than allowing the organization to remain defunded and vulnerable to additional attacks. That Patricia Harrison, the organization's president and CEO. Yeah. All politics aside, it's an end of an era. And, there's been several end of an eras that I've witnessed in the past 5 years. All of the corporations that have gone bankrupt. The changes, wow. It's just amazing. If you sit back and just think about it and really take account, it's an amazing time to be alive. Let's move forward. Department of Justice. Ex-Democrat lawmaker is charged with allegedly fraudulently obtaining poke unemployment benefits. So this scandal, and look, I think this is going to go far and wide. I do believe politically that, was it Tim Scholes, the Kamala Scholes dance was going to really go all the way. And things were going to continue as they were, and I just see, you got two sides to the same bird, left wing, right wing, right? It's all the eagle. And whether it's the right wing or the left wing pulling the shenanigans, it looks to me, it's like a fight over who has the power to pull the shenanigans and do all the dances, the wing that has the power before to do all the, the shenanigans lost that power. Now the other wing has power and is pointing out the other shenanigans and just blowing, or so it may appear. But this guy dropped out of the governor's race. He's not even going for governor again. And that's a big deal. So it's going beyond the state of Minnesota. There's a FBI expanded Minnesota poke fraud probe, yo. The feds are out there doing a dance. I think this is going to go far and wide. I do not think it was just Minnesota. In case in point, a former Georgia state Democrat lawmaker was federally charged for allegedly fraudulently obtaining nearly $14,000. The development comes after 14 bands? We're talking. Oh, okay. That kind of just, I don't know. I guess, fraud is fraud. So unemployment benefits, the development comes after Karen Bennett, who used to represent State House District 94, wrote a letter to Georgia Governor Brian Kemp December 30th, announced that she would be retiring from her position on New Year's Day after 12 years of service. Quote, as a result of the false application and certifications, Bennett collected a total of $13,940 of panorama unemployment assistance and federal supplements to which she was not entitled. Theodore Hertzberg, the U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Georgia, wrote in a court filing. Prosecutors allege the former representative applied for PUA benefits in May 2020 and disclosed that she worked for the Georgia General Assembly and ran Metro Therapy, a private business where her role consisted of providing in-home physical therapy services. They said that in the application, Bennett claimed the job was her primary occupation and primary means of livelihood. And the panorama prevented her from performing any service in connection with Metro Therapy. In reality, Bennett was not prevented from performing her work for Metro Therapy or reaching her place of employment because the panorama lockdown. The filing continued, quote, before the panorama, her actual role with Metro Therapy was an administrative one, and she worked from her home office. She did not provide in-home services for clients, end quote. Man, just lying for 14,000. That's too bad. 12 year career for less than 14,000 fiat notes. Trump predicts he will be impeached if Republicans lose the midterms. Wasn't he impeached last time he was the president? Wouldn't be surprised to be this Venezuela dance, which is not necessarily a dance. President Donald Trump had a warning for Republicans today. If they don't retain control of Congress in the year's midterm elections, Democrats will impeach him. Quote, you got to win the midterms because if you don't win the midterms, it's going to be, they'll find a reason to impeach me, end quote. Trump said in a speech at a House Republican policy retreat, quote, I'll get impeached, end quote. Trump's remarks come as polling indicates that most voters feel the country is on the wrong track. With the economy a top concern less than a year before the midterm elections, all members of the House and a third of senators are up for re-election in November, which could determine whether Republicans are able to continue carrying out their agenda in the final 2 years of Trump's second term. Trump he's the only president to have been impeached twice in the House, although supporters of the move in the Senate did not have the necessary 2/3 supermajority of votes to convict him in either cases. And they go on to talk about when he was impeached, but would you be surprised if the Republicans lost the House or Senate and he was impeached? Why is Donald Trump renewing calls for takeover of Greenland? It's strategy. It's strategy, right? I don't know. U.S. refuses to rule out military force to take control. This is why an attack on NATO ally would end alliance. Soon after Donald Trump's removal of Venezuela's president, Nicolas Maduro, last weekend, he quickly moved on to the subject of Greenland, renewing calls for a U.S. takeover of the Arctic territory. The U.S. president said Sunday that he needed Greenland, quote, very badly, and, quote, prompting a ramping up of tensions between the U.S., Greenland, and Denmark. Greenland is part of the Danish kingdom. Denmark formerly ruled it as a colony and today still controls its foreign and security policy. Okay, so I was going to hold on for a second, right? But I'm just going to pull this up. So this is Denmark right here. You see it? It's in the middle. It's a little blue thing. It says Denmark. Should be right in the middle of your screen. Denmark. This is Denmark. I'm going to zoom out. This is Apple Maps, but I got a crazy graphics card, so this should be fine. You see, this is Norway. Here's France down here. And this is Greenland. Past Iceland, here's Greenland. And it's really like the next. This is Canada. right here. Right next to Greenland is Canada. Denmark, I got to zoom back. That's Stockholm, my bad. Again, Denmark, over here, Greenland. So, I mean, what case am I making? You know, they're calling this neo-colonialism, right? This is a hot topic. So let's just stick to geography. This is, if as an American, right? Let me zoom back. As an American, right? You see, here's North America. This is Greenland right here, up here. Greenland is directly northeast of Canada, right? It's pretty close to the United States. I think, the concern of military forces building up in this part of the world and being so close to the United States, I think that's where he's coming from. Now, I'm going to go back over here, back to Denmark, right? Where is it? Sweden. It's right next to Sweden there. Denmark. Got it? And then this, whoops, I got a preview. Formerly ruled it as a colony and today still controls its foreign policy, foreign and security policy. I don't know what to say. That's a hot topic. I'm glad I'm not in politics, but this is, one of those dances where you're just like, hey, not really sure how this makes sense. But yeah, there's Denmark. Back here behind the UK, got Iceland. Yeah, I don't know. But you do have where we got Danish Prime Minister says U.S. takeover of Greenland would mark the end of NATO. Now, I might have a crazy take that I'm about to share with you guys. Crazy take. What if Trump doesn't want NATO anymore? Now, hear me out. He's been back and forth with Europe, and specifically, what did he renegotiate the contract? He was saying that the U.S. was paying too much and more than other countries in with regards to NATO. I remember him saying something like that. But also, here, think of this strategically. Let's go back to this map, right? United States, we have North America, South America, right? Here we go. We got the continent of Africa, and then we have, let's go over here to Europe. This is basically the European Union up in here. We got France, Spain. You got the UK, Ireland over here, right? Austria, Switzerland. But check this out. Hungary, Poland, and here's Ukraine. I'm going to center it on the screen. It's on the same continent of the European Union. Germany, Chechnya. I don't know how many countries are in the European Union, but I do know that France is in there. I say France like that because France, man. But I say I was out there, man. So, and I'm not being facetious. I'm just being serious. Spain. I know Spain. I know the EU is Sweden and Poland, Italy, and we can keep going, but that's not the case. I just want to point out we're talking about geographic proximity here, right? Let's talk geographic proximity. So you got Ukraine. I'm centering Ukraine on the screen. It's right in the middle. That's Ukraine. It's right next to Moldova. It's next to Belarus, Romania, Slovakia, Hungary. Then you get into Czechia, Austria. You're getting real close to the European Union. I'm going to tell you, I've been over there. These maps enlarge these countries. I've taken a train from the south of France to Paris. I've taken a train. I'm not playing. Taking a train. And not Marseille. I was actually in Nice. But I took a train from here all the way, what they say is up to here in Paris or Paris. And man, nah. And I've driven in the United States. I've driven in America, man. I've driven across states, multiple states, to the coasts and back to the other coasts. And so I know how long it takes to travel on the land, man. So I'm just going to tell you that this is smaller. It's closer than what it looks like. But here's Ukraine. We're back here, right? But here's Moscow. I'm going to center Moscow. This is Russia, y'all. This is Russia. Right next to them. So I believe, in hot take, I believe that Trump may be anticipating, right? May be anticipating an attack somehow with Ukraine, Russia, and maybe Poland. Maybe Germany. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know what article is of the United Nations, but if one country in the UN is attacked, basically they're all attacked and they all have to go and fight for that country that was attacked. This might be strategy, man. And I could be completely out of my mind, but this might be strategy to get to either dissolve the European Union, secure regional geography with regards to military-wise, and reduce the liability of being in that treaty, that United Nations treaty, because it's likely inevitable, right? But here's my other hot take, y'all. Here's my other hot take. I'm gonna get to I believe that we're seeing the beginning of a switch up. I believe the more I look at this map, the more I look at this, I believe we are going to see in the future, possibly in the near future, NATO nations, United Nations, NATO nations, whatever, right? NATO leaving and becoming BRICS nations. Whatever. I could be crazy. I say that all the time, y'all. I could be crazy. But there may be a new line in the sand. There may be a new line in the sand. A lot of things are adding up from how I'm seeing it. As I said, I could be crazy. The other thing we have going on is over here. Taiwan, and look how close Taiwan is to China. This is mainland China over here. Look at how close Taiwan is. That's like, oh man, the Florida Keys almost. You know what I mean? And if we have the Western Empire, let's just be honest. If we have the Western Empire consolidating resources regionally, that move in Venezuela, I think is I think Taiwan. You got to watch Taiwan, y'all. And the U.S. is supposed to be $11 billion to help them with their military. Do you know Japan activated their military? The Danish leader, Mette Frederiksen, said that an American takeover of Greenland would all amount to the end of NATO military alliance. Her comments came in response to U.S. President Donald Trump's renewed call for strategic mineral-rich Arctic island to come under U.S. control in the aftermath of a weekend of military operation in Venezuela. And it's the minerals. It's this, that. Look, man, if I'm getting ready to fight you. I'm not going to tell you that I'm getting ready to fight you unless, this is UFC or some stuff. But in the real world, you see a lot of sucker punches. A lot. You see a lot of sucker punches in the real world. And you rarely see people square up. And usually when you do see people square up and just, it's rare that you see anyone fight fair. And I'm gonna be honest, the United States is not fighting fair. And I don't think if the United States chooses to attack another NATO country militarily, then everything stops. That is, including our NATO and thus the security that has been provided since the end of the Second World War. Listen, y'all. Listen to what I'm saying. Do you think that the comments of anybody over there is going to dissuade Donald Trump? That man is shown. He's let it be known. Trump suggests U.S. taxpayers could reimburse oil firms for Venezuela investment. Did you sign up for that? Huh? Donald Trump has suggested U.S. taxpayers could reimburse energy companies for repairing Venezuelan infrastructure for extracting and shipping oil. Trump acknowledged that a lot of money, I don't know, I just want to say it like that, would need to be spent to increase oil production in Venezuela after U.S. forces ousted its leader, Nicolas Maduro, but suggested his government could pay oil companies to do the work. Quote, a tremendous amount of money will have to be spent, and the oil companies will spend it, and then they'll get reimbursed by us or through revenue, end quote. I saw an article saying that oil companies they're not really interested, but who knows if that's true. McDonald's hit with the lawsuit claiming McRib contains no real rib meat. I just want to know, it's 2026 now. Do y'all really believe that most of the foods that these corporations, these businesses for profit are selling are good for you, or even what they advertise them to be? It's a belief system. McDonald's is facing a class action lawsuit that accuses the fast food giant of deceiving customers about what meat is used in its McRib sandwich. The lawsuit, filed by 4 plaintiffs, alleges the McRib does not contain any actual pork rib meat at all. Despite its advertising, McDonald's says the claims are meritless. So if the claim is that there's no pork, they can just prove that there is some pork and then they win, right? In the suit, the plaintiffs argued that despite its name and distinctive shape, its meat patty has been deliberately crafted to resemble a rack of pork ribs. We've known that. I feel like if you've ever worked at McDonald's or any of those fast food joints, you know exactly what that is. It's like it's a mixture injected into a mold. The meat patties are instead made up of ground up portions of lower grade pork products, such as interalia, pork shoulder, heart, tripe, and scalded stomach. I mean, my goodness. The sandwich, which returned to menus at certain McDonald's in November, is described by the company as, quote, a seasoned boneless pork dipped in tangy barbecue sauce, topped with slivered onions and tangy pickles, all served on a toasted home-style bun. The sandwich has cultivated a significant following from fans who eagerly await its return to menus. Debuted in 1981, but was removed from the regular menu in the early 2000s. Since then, it returns only as a limited time offering. It's really has a lot to do with the pork, the prices of pork, commodity wise. I'm serious. You look into it if you think I'm playing. The lawsuit argued that the company's use of the name McRib amounts to a deliberate sleight of hand, and that because of the marketing, customers expect pork rib meat, which is prized by consumers for its high fat content and rich flavor. I don't know about you, but when I hear McRib, I hear Mc anything. I'm thinking McNasty. So, after they burned the woman's lower regions with the coffee, I think that was in the 90s. I don't even remember when that was. But I remember that was all over the news. And then there was a woman that sued them and won because she said McDonald's made her fat. And I remember people were laughing at her. They were making fun of her, but she won. And that's when they started putting the nutrition information on the packages. Now you get the fries. They got the nutrition info on the packages. Nah, man, that stuff wasn't like that back in the day. It wasn't. They didn't tell you how much fat and calories was in their food back in the day. I remember they didn't. I remember when they first started doing it. So I don't know. You can eat that stuff if you want to, but common pain relievers may raise heart disease and stroke risk, man. NSAIDs like ibuprofen and what? I've never even heard naproxen. Never even seen that before. Took me a second. I'm sorry, y'all. Linked to higher risk depending on dose and duration. This is why I'm the type of man that I've learned in my life when I don't pay attention to, I don't know what you'd call it, like an internal feeling, kind of like an inner voice. When I don't listen, I get in trouble. The way I like to describe it is, you're driving. No, you're standing somewhere, right? Walking somewhere, and you see a place where you know that if you walk over that, it's gonna crack and you're gonna fall through, and you know it. But then you see like 3 people walk over and it doesn't crack and fall through, and you're like, oh, it must be good. And then you walk over it and fall through. That's me. That's me. If I see something or I feel something and I know something and I ignore it, every single time in my life, man, I've regretted it. The reason why I say that story is because I've never been comfortable taking prescription drugs, even over the counter. I don't even take aspirin. I tell my people in my family know if I get a headache and it's bad, like a bad headache, I don't get migraines or none of that stuff. But if I get a headache, I will not take aspirin. I won't. It has to be very serious for me to take any type of medication. I just don't like it. It's weird. The stuff is just weird. I will eat some food, drink some water, and if that doesn't work, I will go to sleep. And usually one of those 3 methods, my headache is gone. The 4th method I've been noticing has been like kind of maybe some stress stuff. Like if I get my shoulders rubbed, my shoulders and my neck rubbed, my headache will go away. And I think that's like tension. But this is recent. The tension one is recent. The other 3, food, water, sleep. And I've never been an ibuprofen, never been an Advil guy, never. And reading this thing, now I understand why. I listened. I paid attention. This is because they reduce the production of certain chemicals called prostaglandins. These chemicals are involved in inflammation, but they are also involved in other body functions, such as influencing the tone of blood vessels. Oh. Well, would you look at that? They can lead to high blood pressure, heart attack, and stroke via fluid retention and salt retention. This increases volume, puts a strain on the heart, and raises blood pressure. You trying to take medication to get better, you about to have a stroke. Be careful out there, y'all. Japanese, this is CNN. Here, I'll show you why I did it like this. CNN, I'm not subscribing. Never. Japanese Prime Minister's Taiwan comments prompt China to ban certain exports to Japan. Now, I don't know if you know the history between China and Japan. I don't know if you know about Japan. Japan, since World War II, has been pretty much like peace, nothing but peace, throwing up the peace sign. I don't even know if they had like a military outside of defense. Like their military was only defensive. They had no military to go out and do some stuff. These fools, they've entered the game, is what I'm trying to say. China has banned exports of some rare earth elements and other items to Japan that could be used for military purposes, straining already tense relations between the 2 countries following the Japanese Prime Minister's recent remarks on Taiwan. And these rare earth minerals, right, is a big deal. We'll talk. I think we're going to go into it. These rare earth elements, we're going to go into it, but Most people do not understand how big of a deal these rare earth elements are. The sweeping restrictions on so-called dual-use items, goods, services, and technologies that have both civilian and military applications are effective immediately. So, and if it has civilian and military applications, it's done. So that's crazy. Phones have civilian and military applications, tablets. One could say television sets. You're getting into the weeds. Headphones. Do headphones have military applications? It's possible. Just regular headphones, man. Do you understand where we're going? Oh, man. I feel bad. Look, just wow. While the ministry did not specify what the impacted exports are, a catalog of dual-use items published by the ministry includes rare earths, advanced electronics, aerospace and aviation components, drones, and nuclear-related technology, among other items. Rare earths, man. Advanced electronics. What's an advanced electronic? Would some say one of those NVIDIA GPUs is an advanced? Man, listen. Rare earth elements are critical to a wide range of goods, from everyday electronics, and vehicles to advanced weapon systems and fighter jets. Dual use. So if you can use it for advanced weapon systems and fighter jets, we don't care if you can use it for everyday electronics and vehicles. Relations between the two Asian powers have deteriorated rapidly since Japan's leader, Sanae Takachi, said in Parliament in November that a Chinese invasion of Taiwan would constitute a situation threatening Japan's survival, potentially triggering a military response from Tokyo. Oh, so you threatening? They consider that they're a part of their country, even though it's an island. They consider that part of their. I ain't going to no one's neighborhood messing with their stuff or what's the stuff that they consider is theirs. China's ruling Communist Party claims Taiwan as its territory despite having never controlled it, and has vowed to annex the island by force if necessary. Using its global dominance in rare earths supply chain, China has imposed controls on these exports as a powerful weapon in the trade war unleashed by U.S. President Donald Trump last year. The move wreaked havoc in industries around the world, including the automotive sector, a critical pillar of Japan's economy. This is not the first time Beijing has weaponized rare earth exports against Japan. In 2010, China also restricted such shipments to the country following a diplomatic spat triggered by Japan's arrest of a Chinese fishing boat captain near the disputed Senkaku Islands, known in China as the Diaoyus. I don't know, man. I tried. That was twice. I won't do 3 times. Happy news. Good news. We're living longer. Global life expectancy has risen 7 years since 2000 to 73 years old. Extreme poverty is decreasing. China has lifted 50 million people out of poverty in the last 5 years. The percentage of girls attending secondary school has risen from 47% to 68% since 2000. I think that's great. 5 millions of people gained access to electricity since 2000. The global percentage with access to electricity has risen from 78% to 92%. I like it. But we got a baby received the first personalized gene therapy. I don't know if that's good news, y'all. They slipped one in there. KJ was born with a rare metabolic disease. A custom CRISPR treatment was designed for him, and he is now improving. So apparently the future is designer healthcare, using your own genes and gene editing. We've put a face to the third human species. Denisovans lived alongside us and Neanderthals tens of thousands of years ago. In 2010, we only had a fragment of a finger. Now we also have a skull. Their DNA is still in use, still in us. I'm adding words. Renewables surpass coal as a source of electricity. Yeah, that's good news. Spain celebrated 50 years of democracy. That's good news. What else we got? Emissions are projected to be down. That's good news. Agricultural productivity is increasing. That's good news. And AI-powered SMS prediction saved crops in India. An implant allows blind people to read again. That's beautiful. Heart attacks are less deadly. People are surviving. 40% of patients hospitalized for a heart attack in 1970 died. Today, the figure has dropped to 10%. That's great. Cancer survival rates have doubled in 50 years. And we'll stop with that. We'll end with that. That's current events for today. Tomorrow we're gonna do the show, and I guess until then, y'all take care of yourself, enjoy yourself. Make sure you say 10 things that you're thankful for before you go to sleep tonight and every night. It's very important. And I will catch you tomorrow on the show. Peace, y'all.